Everybody, I'm going to do a garden tour today, but for this garden tour, I'm going to have a little bit of help. Someone who has been doing some awesome things in my community here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm excited to show him around my property. Hopefully he'll be asking some questions that maybe like you would ask if you were here. I'm going to encourage him to ask. And I thought about cleaning up my garden beforehand, but as you know, just had a child, been a little busy. So you're going to see it in its natural state, a little bit disorganized, which I think is good, rather than seeing the perfect garden that most people can't keep up. So as we're walking back to my garden, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's up guys? My name is Noah Curtis. I am the owner of Pineal, and the big thing that we're doing in Louisville, Kentucky, and hopefully soon we can get this thing across the country, our mission, is our Pineal Trade Stations. And they're basically just little boxes or stations that people can trade homegrown produce, house plants, seeds, really is all gardening things, extra abundance of your gardens.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. I plan on making a separate video that hopefully will come out the week after this one, talking all about them and the awesome work that Noah's been doing and his team. So definitely be sure to check that out. But this is my backyard playground right here, kind of everything that I've got going on. So as we walk through, I'll point out stuff, but I definitely want you to be like, hey, like, what's this? Okay. What's going on here? Like,
I already got questions.
Yeah, what are your questions?
How did you start everything? Is this no till, minimal dig? I mean, you said you only been here for what, 2.5 years? Yeah, so this is a lot of space. This garden right here was the one I put in the first full summer. So we moved at like the very end of July. Okay. So didn't really have much time to like put in a full garden. So the first full summer did this garden right here. It's 40 by 40 fenced in, mainly to keep out. We've got some groundhogs. Okay. So the fence runs a foot down below. It's got 3 feet up. That's smart. It's done really well. You can see I've got a new addition for deer, my fishing line. But all these raised beds I put in, lots of mulch from a chip drop. And yeah, how does that fishing line work for deer? Yeah, I know a lot of people have problems with it. So this is new, so we'll see how it actually does. Okay. And actually, I got some trail cameras so I can set up, so I can actually monitor it, and I've got a few other deer deterrents. But this was just in the past week right here. So this fishing line, if people can see on the screen here, I have these little eye hooks. That's smart. And then it goes, and this is 30-pound test fishing line. The deer, they can't see it that well, but when they go up to it and they touch it, it like freaks them out. And they leave. Right. And there's videos online of people putting it up, and like they've also got the trail cams and like our night vision security cameras, and it works. That's super. So super easy, because if you way easier. Because if you want to keep out deer, you need like an 8-foot fence. At least, yeah. Yeah. So they're really, really hard, and we were lucky our first year, but now we have a nice little population of deer, which I love seeing the deer. They're awesome, yeah. But I want the deer like, they could just not come back here. I got plenty. They destroy stuff. Yeah, I got plenty of stuff for them to eat. So yeah, these are the raised beds that I put in. I've got some carrots that were started a few weeks ago. Been trying to figure out how to get carrots going. They've been sort of the bane of my existence. A lot of cole crops. Nice. This trellis has got peas on it. Do you start everything from seed? I start, yes, pretty much everything from seed. I don't think, I don't buy anything, any plant starts. Nice. Yeah, so I've got an area in our essentially laundry room that has been the place where I have some shop lights, get everything going. But yeah, right now it's kind of in a transition period where like all the summer stuff has either been like pulled out or like it's just hanging on, especially as you know, like we've had like a horrible drought. Right. And then we're about to get like 4 inches of rain over the next 2 days. Crazy. So it's going to be horrible. So I've actually picked a whole bunch of stuff. So a lot of my plants are going to look bare because I picked it all today, because if it stayed on the vine, like it was either going to rot or bust. Right. So like the garden, as I said, it's kind of in flux right now. What are these? So that is a big giant, like a conduit for storm water that you would typically see like under a road. Right, yeah. Yeah, so this was actually on our property when we moved in. It was just one big piece. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with this thing? I researched and I was like, oh, this plastic is actually safe to grow in. So I took a chainsaw and cut them into these super nice raised beds. These tomatoes are gnarly. Oh yeah, this is mostly, there's 2 plants here, but most of it is just one plant
this sun gold.
It's only 2 plants.
Yeah.
Holy
and it just
smokes.
got absolutely crazy. Yeah, this is my little tunnel here. So these are 2 cattle panels that are straddling these 2 beds. I may do another one and sort of continue the tunnel.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be really awesome.
And then this plant, have you seen this before?
No, I don't think I have.
So this is my first year growing this, and I actually haven't eaten much of it, but it's Malabar spinach. So it's not a spinach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not actually a spinach. I think it comes from New Zealand, maybe.
So you would eat the leaves?
You would eat the leaves. You can eat them raw. And what's nice about it, because I don't know if you've ever tried to grow spinach, that like spinach in the summer in the heat, it won't do it. It bolts, it dies. This thing loves the heat and humidity.
Really?
Yeah, so because it's always like a struggle for me, because when I want to eat a salad is when salad doesn't actually grow.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What is it called?
Malabar spinach.
That is really good.
Yeah.
And it just vines like that.
Yeah, and it just sort of sat there forever, and then as soon as late June, July hit, and it got hot and humid, it took off.
Yes,
yeah.
You can really have something to, salads all year.
Yeah, a little green, saute it up with some onions,
That's awesome.
some eggs, a bunch of strawberries. Let's see. So these ones, I actually started these from seeds.
Really?
Yeah, and these are little tiny alpine strawberries.
Okay.
So we'll get a little bit bigger.
Oh,
once
wow.
it gets more established.
Wow, that's sweet.
Oh yeah,
It tastes like a Skittle.
Oh yeah, for like the size of it, it packs a ton of flavor, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how big these would get, so they might be a little too crowded in here. So I may, after we have our little monsoon, divide these up a little bit and maybe bring some to one of the events that we have coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the ones down there, so there's like 3-tiered. The ones on the end, those are another type of strawberry. Those are a white alpine strawberry.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't have any color on them at all. And I think eventually all these beds will be strawberries, maybe 3
Yeah, do these
types.
spread like the regular kind of normal strawberries?
They do a little bit, but I'm not seeing as much of the trailing as I have seen in other ones. And then, yeah, this bed is pretty much done. My last little bit of green beans, I've got some squash, so I will probably pull all of this out next week and either just throw some like lettuce seeds in there or a cover crop, because at this point, like, there's not too much that you can really get started.
Right.
And then my big bed of sweet potatoes.
That's what I thought that was. When are you gonna harvest this?
Probably another 2 weeks, mid-October. Want to harvest them before it frosts, so I've got a little bit of time.
And you planted these in the springtime?
Yep, planted those in the springtime. Started these ones from slips from sweet potatoes that I grew the year before that I got at the farmer's market. So I knew that they were good for the area, which is one good thing. Like, if you don't know, like, will this plant grow here, especially like sweet potatoes? Well, go to your local farmer's market.
That's a huge deal too. Yeah, I see that all the time with fruit trees.
Yeah.
People try to grow fruit and they don't know why they're not getting fruit, and it's like, that's not at all the fruit that grows in your area. Like, that species specifically is not.
Yeah, like,
not working.
Yeah, go ask your farmers, go ask your like fellow gardeners, your local extension office. Oh, now these things, glad you didn't accidentally touch one right here. So this is a new thing I put in. Definitely don't touch them. I need to move them now that I've got my little fishing line. But these are called electric deer fences. So the little blue thing in there is this little scent capsule that you're supposed to change out every month. But apparently it smells really good to deer. So they go in and they go to like smell it, but that's an electrode. So it shocks them.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, never mind. I don't want anything to do with this.
Kind of like an electric fence almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were kind of expensive, 3 for like $60. But if you've got an area where you can't really put in a fence, because I've got some raised beds that some beds that I'm starting up front, they're going to be a lot of like native plants.
Nice.
And some of those like deer are going to want to eat. Well, I don't want them like eating my landscaping, and I can't put a fence around it. So we'll see.
And in Louisville, deer are really bad.
Oh yeah.
Like, even like the suburban, like, just everywhere.
Well, my biggest thing has been squirrels.
Oh really?
Squirrels are just like killing me on my tomatoes.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And I don't know if you're a meat eater, but I think my squirrel solution is I'm just going to depopulate the squirrels.
That's the way to go, right?
And it's like, well, it'd be one thing if I was just shooting them to shoot them, but I'm gonna
yeah, if you're gonna eat them,
I'm gonna eat them.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I fed them.
And squirrel season is super long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's already in, and it goes through like the beginning of the new year. So
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so I will be eating squirrel. So we just left the garden that I put in last year, and then this garden is the garden that I put in this year, and I hand dug this entire thing.
Really?
Yeah. It was miserable.
This is what you were talking about, the hind thing. Wow, that's a lot to dig.
And for each of the rows that are sort of raised up in here, I dug down, they get shallower and shallower as you go because I ran out of steam.
Yeah.
So they started off a foot deep, so I completely turned over the soil, but the idea is that these will be permanent rows. So I did all the soil disturbance in the first year, and I will never do it again.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I will just maintain.
That's how I do a lot of my stuff too, yeah.
Just maintain these rows, and then, you know, I've made, since I love diagrams and pictures, so I've got charts already like printed out with each of the rows, so I can write down year by year, you know, okay, my tomatoes were here in 2024, so now I know next year, because, you know, it could be buildup of nematodes or certain things in the soil, so next year we're gonna move them over here.
Right,
and
yeah.
So I got my crop rotation. And
are you gonna do like kind of like how the minimal digs, like are you gonna add compost every year?
Yep.
To feed the soil? Okay.
Yep, so I'll add compost every single year. I'd be interested to see if you've got a better source of compost. I'm not gonna blast them on this video, but like all the ones that I've found have either had a whole lot of plastic in it locally, or
I know what you're talking about.
Super woody.
Like, I know, yeah.
Yeah, like both the two different sources. And then it's like, oh man, and then there's a place that's near us that says like, oh, free horse manure. Well, my whole worry with that is that it's gonna have persistent herbicides in it. So like, I don't want to put something.
You really don't know.
There's no way to know.
You don't know, yeah. That's like an untapped regenerative agriculture. So it's people are getting into it for sure.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of the companies, the compost is not there.
No,
it's not there.
It's not, and I don't want to put something down that is gonna make these beds like ungrowable, like where I can't grow anything for years. It's not that like it'll be like, oh, it's tainted, it's got some herbs. Like, no, nothing will grow in it.
Nothing will grow. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I eventually, you know, I'm starting my own. This is my makeshift compost bin over there with the pallets that I will probably fix this fall. I'm very excited for fall, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I've got spring fever already. You know, I want it to be like growing season again. Like fall's the time where I can like do all the projects.
Fall's the time.
Where I can like refresh all of these beds. I can finish out, because you can see like my rows sort of go. And then this was supposed to be more rows.
Yeah.
I got tired of digging.
Fall's a great time because it's nice outside. You can work. You can actually do it.
Yeah, and not be sweating to death.
Yeah.
Because I feel during the summer, it's either like, if you've got vegetables coming out your ears, so you're constantly harvesting or pulling weeds, so there's no time to kind of do.
There's not much time.
Like the other projects.
Right. The building, the fun part.
Yeah, so I'll be making like more tomato cages this fall, so I'm not rushing in the spring. And that's one thing too, like thinking about like, okay, what are those things that I need in place in spring? What can I do now?
Right.
That way you're not rushing.
Set it up.
Yeah, because you know, once it starts getting warm, there's a million things to do. Well, which of those things could you have done, you know, in February, in January?
Right.
Cleaning all your tools, sharpening them, like getting stuff prepped.
Getting it ready.
And that way you don't feel overwhelmed.
Because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. Especially if you're new into gardening and you don't really know what you're doing yet.
Oh yeah.
It's like, do it now. It's come springtime, it's just a way easier
And one
process.
thing for people, if they're thinking about getting into gardening, like starting your beds, you can start your bed in the fall.
Oh yeah.
Like if you want to do like a sheet mulch with cardboard in your compost, let it sit. You could even do like a light cover crop on top of it, and that way it's ready to go. So you don't have to do, that's like one less massive thing.
Yeah, the compost is broke down. A lot
you're going to get the mycelium starting to form in there, so
Right.
you're going to get the soil like nice and ready. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. People always try to rush.
So much stuff,
Yeah, in like April, and it's just like, you're going to kill yourself.
Kill you.
Yeah.
And then they get burnt out.
They get burnt out, you know, it's like, oh man, I spent all this time for like 3 tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
You have a lot of, what do you do with all this food? Like, do you can, like, how, like, I mean, this is a lot of food.
Yes, so a lot of canning, pickling, freezing. We got a big deep freeze earlier this year. And then some of the stuff, one thing that I'm really interested in is exploring more preservation techniques that don't require a lot of energy. That are like how would they have preserved things 100 years ago, 150 years ago?
Yeah.
So salting, fermenting, or just having things like, you know, root vegetables and winter squash that are hardy. Because I see a lot of people who are like homesteaders or certain things that have all these like big giant freeze dryers and all these like food preservation techniques that like use a ton of energy.
Right.
So I want to explore some more novel ways. So if we come across anybody in the community
that'd be awesome.
that's doing that stuff, I would love to connect with them. A little flower patch back here. These were seeds that we got soon after we moved in, and I didn't know if they were still going to be viable. I kept them in the freezer and with some oxygen absorbers and moisture absorbers so they could, and they tossed back here. And
those are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, they took off. I'm getting more and more into natives, but I feel that the non-native, especially like the quick growing annuals, have a place.
I think so too, yeah.
Like, I mean, because like clearly like these are all native bees
that are in here. Covered.
Yeah, that are loving it. So
yeah.
Because a lot of times some of the natives take a year or two to get established. So I don't have, like, those things aren't blooming yet. So this has been really nice to have.
Plus these are just so pretty.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was coming out and making bouquets for my wife, you know. That's a sure way to win some good points.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this was my little squash patch, which was kind of an afterthought. The garden was supposed to end right there, and I had killed with that tarp this area, and then moved that tarp back, and I was like, well, I got some time. So I threw in some squash, and then I got a watermelon over there.
Nice.
Oh, these right here, so this is more sweet potato. It's two different varieties, but they're Japanese sweet potato. One is a purple sweet potato, and the other one is a white sweet potato.
Okay.
So actually, those I got from Etsy, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was looking in a lot of the places, because I was kind of late on those. So most of the places were all sold out on sweet potato slips, and I was like, where can I find them? And I was just Googling, and like, oh, this Etsy store has it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll take a chance on Etsy. Oh, here's my clothing basket. Watch out, there's poison ivy right there. But this is my little protection for my little watermelon.
Nice.
Because deer love watermelon.
Oh, right.
They'll bust them open with their hooves.
Right.
So my sister-in-law, who's my neighbor, loves watermelon. So
it's smart.
I want to protect the watermelon that I grew for her. Oh yeah, my okra.
That's looking really good.
Yeah, I grew this whole big row of okra because last year I really like pickled okra, but to like pickle it and can it, you need a lot at once because I want to like fill the whole like canning pot. So it's like, well, I'll just grow a whole row. Well, now I've got the problem where I've got like okra coming out my ears because once it starts producing,
it's producing.
Yeah, because you get like it starts sending off because it started off where it's just like there's like a mature okra up top, but as you start going, it starts sending out these side shoots. So if I end up going to the swap this Saturday, if it's not rained out, I might bring some more okra.
And it has the prettiest flowers too. Okra has
I wonder if they're related to like a hibiscus.
It looks like a hibiscus.
It looks like a hibiscus. Yeah. They've got to be related. I will Google that and I will put that on the screen of this video. Oh, here's my flower row. I'm not going to do a flower row like this next year because I have so many flowers that I'm going to have over here in natives. I've got a big native patch there and more flowers in the back because my thinking was I want to minimize the distance between any of my rows and a pollinator attractor.
Okay.
So I wanted something always in bloom to constantly bring in those pollinators. So that's why I had this row of flowers. I don't think it's as necessary as I thought, or I may just do a little bit more of like interplanting.
Okay, right, yeah. So we'll just
sort of have them
maybe some
in the
flowers
rows.
on, yeah.
But they are nice, and the goldfinches love them. Oh, so that is a garden huckleberry.
Okay.
So the garden huckleberry is in the Solanaceae family, which is the tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, and everything.
Right.
And then like black nightshade, which is a native plant, which is said to be poisonous. Turns out it's not actually all that poisonous. Native people eat it, but it's in the same family. But the berry is poisonous when it's not ripe. When it gets dull and kind of squishy, it's ripe and you can eat it. It doesn't taste like anything.
Really?
Yeah, it's not tasty. Apparently it gets sweeter if you cook it, but I didn't grow them for food. I grew them as a trap crop because for some reason, the insects that would eat my tomatoes, my peppers, my eggplant, they like this plant more. So they'll go to this, chew this up, which I'm like, yeah, sure, fine.
Very smart, yeah.
So you can see like the leaves are all eaten up.
Yeah.
And where my tomatoes, which look sad. They look a little sad right now. I've had several of my strings break and it's been dry, but they don't have the bug pressure on them.
Right.
So they got other problems, but they don't have bug problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the main gardens right here. I've got an asparagus patch in the back, back there that I started. I actually started that from seed. I'm gonna make another patch and get some crowns probably for some Jersey Giants, ones that are selected that are, I think you want the female, or maybe you want the male and not the female. Yeah, you want the male, because the female puts on the berries, which can take energy away. So that's why the crowns, if you get them, they tend to be sex selected, because either the plant is male or female.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that back there. We can walk up there. This little area is eventually going to be my little orchard spot, which I've got some stuff growing. I started with natives, so these are American plums.
Oh, nice.
And I got a little row of those. The things that are covered in green, those are actually pawpaws that I started from seed that I collected.
Really?
Yeah, and then I've got a persimmon, and I've got some other persimmons that I started from seed that I need to plant.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that one already lost its leaves. This one's still leafed out in here, but I need to get my little...
Oh, that's so sweet.
My little pawpaw.
Yeah, pawpaws have really become a thing, at least in Louisville.
Yeah. I mean, there's now a pawpaw festival that was the second year this year.
And I know a couple of people that went, they said it was huge. They said they were giving away pawpaws, seeds, trees. There's pawpaw wine, I think, or beer or something. You can make so much stuff out of pawpaws.
Yeah, like bread. Like pudding's really easy, ice cream, because it's got that creamy texture. Yeah, so I want to get some more pawpaws. I think I will buy some named varieties, because these ones are started from seeds, so they're wild type, so you never know what you're going to get as far as the fruit. Yeah. So I'll get some that are grafted cultivars, that way are a little bit better. But yeah, this area up here will be a little orchard area.
Oh, that's going to be so nice.
But yeah, all this was trees when we moved in.
Oh, really?
It was mostly invasive honeysuckle. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So cut.
How did you get rid of that? Just
we hired someone with a machine called a forestry mulcher.
Okay.
Yeah, to come through and essentially just
rip,
mow on through, which was very smart. Actually, my wife's idea, because like I had this little wood chipper and it was just taking me forever to do it. And I've got this big pile over here, stuff that I've been cutting down and piling up. So this winter, I'll have them come back out and just mow over that. Nice. And turn that into, nice wood chips. Turn it into dust.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my mushroom logs.
Awesome.
Yeah. So these ones are the ones that are doing the best. I think these got infected with other things, with native, sort of wild fungi. But yeah, so these are my shiitakes. And then I've got a whole bunch of logs that I started that are in the woods in there, all stacked up. And I could probably force a fruiting out of them this fall by soaking them in water. But given the torrential downpour that we're about to have, I may not need to do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's so cool.
yeah, so that's been fun. I'm just trying to maximize, because yeah, I've got this whole shaded area in here, and one, I've been cleaning it all up because it was all honeysuckle. Right. And then trying to figure out, like, okay, are there things that I can grow in here? So I've got some ramps that I got started. I'm gonna try my hand at, I got some ginseng seeds, so we'll see if I can get some ginseng going.
That'd be really sweet.
Yeah, so just all the little things I'm trying to just get started.
Shiitake log, that's really awesome.
Yeah. And then this area right here will eventually all be garden.
Wow, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, big dreams, big visions.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me on this tour.
For sure. Thank you for showing me around.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do a little interview about all the work that you're doing before it starts raining, because I think it's like imminent. But I've really enjoyed it. Is there anything like that you saw that you like didn't ask a question about? Anything you can think of?
Well, what's that tree right there?
Oh,
I see those little things on there, and I just.
So this is a Chinese chestnut.
Okay.
So of course the American chestnut, it's not extinct, just not, it's very rare because the chestnut blight in the early 1900s, late 1800s. But this is a Chinese chestnut. They got hit real bad by a windstorm last year, it and its friend. But yeah, it makes edible nuts.
Oh, nice.
It's just, you know, it's in these little spiky death balls.
Do you eat them? Like, do you harvest them at all?
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. They taste pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I actively do.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that I kind of want to know, like how to do, you know, in case.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, if ever I need to rely on this tree as like a food resource, like I know it's there, because I have a bunch of acorns, like a bunch of oak trees. They're just dropping a whole bunch of acorns. So I've made like acorn flour and different things. It's not my favorite. I think I need to like with everything, like practice more and learn different preparations with it. But yeah, so I'm trying to see like what are the food things that I've got growing or can grow that largely will take care of themselves. And yeah,
that's awesome.
This tree is one of them.
You ever think about getting bees?
Yeah, I would like to get bees. Well, our friend Richard.
Yeah, he has a bunch of
He's got the bees, and he's just like right over there. So so he's got me covered on the pollinators, but of course, I kind of like my own too.
It's just fun, yeah. It's just fun to have.
But I need to remind myself, like, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Yeah. So like what should I really focus on? Should I focus on the vegetable gardening? Should I focus on like growing native plants? Like what should be my main focus on like doing it well? Right. So yet to be determined. Maybe it'll be bees. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this tour, walking around, and let's go film your video. Sweet.